Coincidentally, I met our next speaker at DevopsDays Amsterdam as well, where Jody Wolfborn gave a presentation there. She came all the way from Seattle to be with us here today. I think probably had a bit of a sleep deficit. There were some airline challenges. Those are never fun. She's going to be talking about imposter syndrome. She currently works at Chef as a solutions architect, so some of you may have met her already. I've had the pleasure of seeing a version of this presentation before, so I'm really excited to see it again. Yeah, it was in Amsterdam. And did you get the wireless lavalier?
I did not.
All right, please join me in welcoming Jody. Hands together.
Hello. I want to start off and say you do belong here. Even though the title says you don't, you totally do. Imposter syndrome is something that is very near and dear to me because I definitely suffer from it. So I decided why not share how I have started to overcome it with other people who might also suffer from it. So who the heck am I? As Warner said, my name is Jody Wolfborn. I'm a solutions architect at Chef Software in Seattle. I have a background in systems administration, Linux, Windows, all that good jazz. I studied theater in school, so I really don't belong here because I don't have a computer sciences degree or something like that, which definitely adds to feelings of impostorism and all that good stuff. I love punctuation, so I think there's probably an exclamation mark on every single slide in this deck, just so you know. And I'm a dog person, so there is also going to be pictures of my dog because I love him. So let's talk a little bit about rules of engagement, and then I'll kind of get into what imposter syndrome is and how you can defeat it. All of the stuff that I'm going to talk about is something that I have tried. Some of it works for me, some of it doesn't. From this, take what you connect with, take what you think might work, try it, and if it doesn't work, leave it behind and try something new. Respectfully, take what you need and leave the rest for someone else to come along and find, I guess. So, what the heck is imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome is a feeling, an intense feeling of anxiety that the things that people think you know, that you don't actually know them, and that at some point someone is going to expose you as being an imposter. I want to start off, how many people in this room are devs, on the dev side of DevOps? Cool. How many people are on the ops side of DevOps? Okay, so how many people here are human beings? Yeah, okay, so we're all human beings. We can all agree that we have something in common, and that regardless of whether we're on the dev side of things or the ops side of things, we do belong together because we have conversations we want to have with each other, right? We want to learn from each other and grow. You are not an imposter in this room because I'm inviting you to be in this room and because the DevOps community has invited you to be in this room. So unless you snuck in off the street and you were just randomly like, hey, I want to be a part of this, you belong here. Sorry. Famous imposters. There are plenty of people out there who are achieving huge things that we can all aspire to, who believe that they are imposters at what they're doing. Albert Einstein said that it makes him really uncomfortable when people give him praise for, I don't know, the theory of relativity or genius things that he helped discover or bring out there. He even felt imposter syndrome about them. So feeling imposter syndrome doesn't make you an imposter. It doesn't make Albert Einstein any less of a scientist, or Tina Fey any less of a comedian and writer and actress, or Maya Angelou any less of a poet, a writer. It just means that you sometimes feel a little insecure, I guess. So why the heck do you care? If you don't feel imposter syndrome right now, you might be like, well, this is great. I can check my emails for the rest of this speech. I would ask you not to do that because 70% of people feel imposter syndrome at some point in their lives. Even if you are not part of that 70%, even if you're part of that lucky 30% who never has this feeling of like, oh my gosh, my hands are shaking, I'm so nervous, these people are all staring at me, what if I say something stupid? Even if you've never felt that, you probably know someone who does, right? You probably are sitting next to 7 out of 10 people who do feel it. So now you can start to recognize symptoms or things that they do and start to help them overcome their own impostorism. So let's talk about what an imposter is versus what an adept is. An imposter is someone who is lying about what they do or why they belong there. And an adept is someone who is good at what they do. I think we can all agree we're pretty good at being human beings, so we're not imposters. If you're at this conference, you're open to new ideas about how the DevOps community should work and how your company can start to integrate those ideas, right? You're in the right place. You're not an imposter here. Even if you don't have any opinions on what those correct ways should be, you're here to get that information. You're not here to be an expert necessarily. The definition of adept also is not equivalent to the definition of expert. So just because you're good at something doesn't mean you're an expert at it, right? And just because you're not an expert doesn't mean you're not good at something. I really like this quote, but more so, I really like the picture in the background because of how ridiculously proud Professor Lockhart is in the Harry Potter series. If any of you are not familiar with it, this picture represents his personality really well. As you can see, he's standing next to a painting of himself, which is painting another painting of himself. Like, this guy feels good about himself. He knows he's beautiful. He knows he's worth multiple paintings in one, right? He is an example of hubris. He has this over pride that sometimes causes a detriment to people who don't have that much confidence necessarily in what they're doing. So let's talk about some of the tools that we can use to combat imposter syndrome. There are two types of mindsets that I want to talk about. A fixed mindset is a sort of binary translation of your successes and failures. If I have a failure, it means I failed and that's it. I need to stop and I'm just a failure. A growth mindset has the idea that if I fail, it's an opportunity to grow and learn. So if you stay in a fixed mindset, then when you fail, when you mess up, you don't go, oh crap, well that's it, I'm gonna get fired, I'm never gonna try that again, I don't wanna do that. I mean, like with skydiving, yeah, if you fail, maybe you don't have the ability to try again because you're probably dead, right? But with things where it's just an attempt, it doesn't matter if you fail. If you learn why you failed, then you can try again and correct those mistakes. That's kind of what the software development life cycle is like, right? You make something, it has a bug in it. You don't go, crap, this application has a bug in it. Let's just scrap all that code, all that work that I put into it. I'm just gonna throw it away because it has one little bug. No, you go in, you go, where is this bug? You figure it out, you learn from that, and then the next time you're writing similar code, you're like, hey, last time I did this, it sent out this error that I couldn't even understand, so I'm gonna try it the way that I learned. That is a growth mindset. I'm gonna talk a little bit about building an inner circle. It's really important if you have insecurities to be able to have a place where you can get reassurance. And that doesn't mean like, oh, don't worry. Yeah, you messed that up, but it's okay. Like, it's not an empty reassurance. It's, hey, you messed that up, but now you can grow from it. Now you can learn from it. Everybody needs a group of people or a community that they can go back to and say, hey, I kind of messed this up. What should I do now? Or just give me comfort or whatever. There are different levels of circles, right? You have friends in your outer circle. You have your family and when I say family, I mean like the family that you choose, not necessarily your blood relatives, right? The people that you connect with and meld with on a deeper level, those are your inner circle. And those might include your significant other, a mentor, your best friend, even sometimes like your children can be in that inner circle as well. Those are the people that will help you and support you in your goals to overcoming imposter syndrome. It's really important to choose those people carefully, right? You don't want a mentor who doesn't necessarily have experience in what you're going through, who just likes to talk and tell people advice. That's not a good mentor. That's just someone who's spitting out advice for the sake. This is my dog. As I told you, there would be slides with my dog in it. This is my dog. He is not a good resource to go to if I need advice. He is a really good resource to go to, though, if I just need unconditional love. If I'm feeling like crap, I go to him and he's like, hey, let's go play Frisbee, or whatever. This person in the middle, she is huge in my life. She has helped me understand what it is to be compassionate and caring and all that stuff. And I never would have been able to unlock those parts of myself if I wasn't open to letting her into my inner circle. And then an important part of an inner circle as well includes a devil's advocate. You don't necessarily have to have a devil's advocate in your inner circle, but this is someone who's going to go, hey, that choice you made, I support you in making that choice, but what if you thought about it from this completely different perspective? If you just continue thinking about it in your own perspective, that's not very conducive to growing. Some people can grow and learn thinking about things from their own perspective. They were born morally genius, I guess, or what. But a devil's advocate is very important. It's also important to choose that person really carefully because you don't just want someone who's arguing with you for the sake of arguing. You don't want someone who's like, well, yeah, that's a good perspective, but I'm going to list off all these other perspectives that just derail you from your ultimate goal. So choose them very carefully. Okay, so now we have our definitions out of the way. How do we actually deal with imposter syndrome in our day-to-day? We defined an adept as being someone who's good at something, and if you're good at it, then you're probably not lying about doing that thing, right? So the way that we avoid imposter syndrome is by being adept. Be aware, be deliberate, be empathetic, be powerful, and be tenacious. So what do each of those mean? Be aware. Know what triggers your imposter syndrome. And either attempt to overcome your imposter syndrome by doing that thing that triggers it, or if you know, like, hey, I've tried overcoming this way and it just makes me feel like crap every single time, avoid that. Don't go into situations where you know the outcome is going to be you feeling like you don't belong. Know what you're saying. Be thoughtful in how you speak so that you don't trigger it in someone else, right? Using phrases like, well, everybody knows that blah, blah, blah. Well, if I don't know that, then I feel like an idiot the moment you say, everybody knows blah, blah, blah. I don't know that. I'm not everybody, so I'm not included in that, and that makes me feel like an imposter. So if you know that you have these phrases, don't use them around other people because you might trigger someone else's imposter syndrome. Know that you're not alone. You do belong here. We're all human beings, and I didn't actually do an accurate count of hands on the dev versus ops side of things, but I'm pretty sure we all belong in the DevOps community as well. We're all here, right? So, like, you're not alone here. And 70% of people suffer from imposter syndrome. So if you feel like you're alone and suffering from that, you're not. The majority of people feel that way at some point. So you're not alone. You have people you can reach out to. And know when to admit you don't know something. The IT community, the DevOps community, we love acronyms. We love them. I hate acronyms because I'm like, I feel like I have a fairly good vocabulary. So when I see 3 letters next to each other, I'm like, crap, there are billions of words that could stand for A, and billions of words that B could stand for, and billions of words that C could stand for. My new MO is anytime I hear an acronym that I even remotely don't know, I will say, hey, what does that acronym mean? A person using the acronym, if they know what it means, they can explain it. It doesn't take any effort on their part to explain it, and now I know it, and anyone else in the room who was also thinking, what the heck does that acronym stand for? Now they all know it too. We all get that information. If I'm willing to say I don't know something, someone else benefits from me learning, right? That's awesome. I get to share that with someone else. The next part is being deliberate. So know what triggers your own imposter syndrome and be deliberate about what you do, right? Choose to change your attitude. If you find yourself in a fixed mindset, oh, I failed, I should just give up, stop yourself and like literally in your mind go, hey, you're in a fixed mindset right now. Maybe you should grow from this. Maybe you should learn from this. Change your mindset right then. You can. It's hard if you don't know that you're in a certain mindset, but you can actually change your own mindset. One thing you can do is start to change your language. If you use words that are that have negative connotations, you are more likely to sound and appear like a negative person, right? This affects your mental psyche as well. Like you are causing yourself to be negative when you use negative connotative words. Choose to learn and grow, and choose your support group carefully. I can't say that enough. Sometimes you just don't know what a person is like. That's fine. Learn from that as well. But be sure that when you're choosing those people that you share those facts with, or those experiences with, that when you share them, they're not like, what an idiot. Why did you feel like that? You know, like that's not gonna help you grow. You need to choose people who will help you grow. Be empathetic. It's really important to listen to your body. And I'm not going to talk about diets or anything like that, except to say when you're listening to your body, you can start to identify the things that actually affect your mood. So if you add a 30-minute walk outdoors when it's sunny out, you will probably feel a little bit better that day than you did on an exact same day where you didn't take that walk, right? Listen to what your body needs. Listen to what it's telling you. It does tell you, and you just need to listen. Listen to your instincts too. If something tells you like, hey, this is wrong, I don't want to go into that situation, I will come out feeling like an imposter, don't go into that situation. It's okay to make those choices and to listen to yourself. You have the power to listen to yourself. Listen to others actively. This is really important here. Nathan Harvey is going to be here tomorrow speaking. He works at Chef. He's our community guy, and he has a phrase that I really love. You have one mouth and two ears. Speak in that ratio, right? Listen twice as much as you speak. Use that ratio to listen to other people. And I don't mean like listen to other people. Okay, so in a meeting, I need to be 1/3 of the time talking and 2/3 of the time not talking. It's not about not talking. It's about actually actively listening to someone. When you actively engage with someone else, you hear more than just the words they're saying. That can help you start to form how you communicate and how you help others get out of their own imposter syndrome cycles. And the last one, this is the hardest thing that I have trouble with. So I can't say that I'm an expert at this at all. Listen to the good things other people say about you. That's really important. I'm terrible at it. If someone gives me a compliment, I do this thing where I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, okay, bye, Like, I don't want to be there. I don't want to accept a compliment. I don't want to have to deal with that uncomfortableness. But if I never listen to the compliments that are being given to me, then I am never inserting into my own brain like, hey, so-and-so said you did that well. That's good. Like, I did something well. I can start to include that in my catalog for the day. Be powerful. This one's also really hard, especially if you feel like an imposter. Our instinct is to shrink down and make ourselves smaller, and this physical change in our body, this physical reaction, actually affects how we think. Amy Cuddy has a TED Talk about power poses, about simply standing bigger or wider or making power motions that put you in a wider standpoint instead of a smaller standpoint. A lot of women tend to stand with their shoulders in and arms crossed. Exactly. Everybody's kind of like shifting in their seats, like, oh, am I doing it right now? Ooh. I do it all the time. If you stand for like 30 seconds before something scary, like a speech or a big meeting, or you're going to propose a new tool to your manager, if you stand just like this, or if you put your hands on your hips and just like stand in a powerful pose, it will actually engage the part of your brain that's like, yes, I am confident in this. Yes, I will move forward. Also, it looks strange when you do it. I know from experience because I've given this speech before and I have been off to the side doing my power poses, and I will see people be like, what is she doing? And some people will come over and ask, hey, what the heck are you doing? It opens a conversation where I can then say, well, I'm really nervous about this speech that I'm about to give in front of all these people. And then that person could say, oh, I'm sure you'll do fine. Like, even if you don't, what's the worst that can possibly happen? I did put my Twitter handle on there, so I guess the Twitter sphere could like light up with like, oh my gosh, Jody is the worst speaker ever. Never invite her to any speech again. Whatever. That's like a really terrible imaginative outcome to this. The logical one is not even remotely related to that. Even if I flubbed this entire speech, probably the most that would come out of that is everyone in this room being like, well, that was kind of a waste of my time. That's it. I wasted your time for 30 minutes. That sucks, but that doesn't change who I am, and it doesn't change what I do and whether I'm successful at it. The last one on here is also really important. Exude compassion. Like, one of the worst things as as a sufferer of imposter syndrome is to like put yourself out there and say, I don't know, and then have someone else come back and be like, whoa, what an idiot. I can't believe you didn't know that. This acronym stands for Software Development Lifecycle. Cool, yeah, like, okay, thank you for making me feel like an idiot. Now I'm gonna go into the bathroom and cry for a couple minutes. I'll come back out in a little bit. But like, be compassionate. Know what you're saying to people and choose not to be that way. Be compassionate. Be tenacious. This is really hard. Imposter syndrome affects you in a way that is like, it's so internal that it's hard to overcome it sometimes. You need to be tenacious. You need to keep fighting the urge to give up. I say fight the concept of failure up here, right? And what I mean is not like, hey, nobody ever fails at anything. They just succeed in certain poor ways. I don't know. I'm not trying to get all mushy-gushy on you like that. Failure is a thing. But the concept of failure that we have today is like, oh, that's a failure. Shoot. We need to scrap everything and start over. That we failed, let's start over. That's not what we should be doing. We should be saying, we failed, let's figure out why and fix it. Let's succeed. Fight complacency. It takes effort to convince yourself sometimes that what you're doing is valuable and that what you're doing is doesn't make you an imposter. I don't have any tips on like reminding yourself, except saying like every day, wake up and go, okay, today I am going to live this day like I don't care if I fail. I want to learn from those failures. Those are good opportunities. So wake up and remind yourself, hey, today I am not going to feel imposter syndrome. It's still hard though. Like sitting out there at the booth, I was like, oh God, I'm not a speaker. Why am I doing this? It's okay to educate yourself too, right? If it's okay for you to say, I don't know, it's also okay for you to improve that. This book is by Brené Brown. It's called The Gifts of Imperfection. We are all imperfect. Even the person who's like, no, actually, I am perfect. Even that person is imperfect. This book helps you sort of realize that your imperfections can help you do other things, and it also helps you like overcome, yeah, I have an imperfection. I don't necessarily need to fix that imperfection right now, but now that I've identified I have that imperfection, I can work around it. Another really good book is that talks about like the growth and fixed mindsets is called Mindset, and it's by Carol Dweck. I also recommend that book a lot. It is okay to change your mind. If you find yourself saying, hey, this side. If you find yourself saying, hey, a failure is a limit of my abilities, that's not true. It just simply isn't true. Like, I don't know how else to say it. It's not true. Ability doesn't determine your success. Effort and attitude determine your success. Failure is an opportunity to grow. It's not a limit, and it's not a line in the sand. It's not something that you can't overcome. It is an opportunity to overcome, right? So if you start to feel like, oh, shoot, I failed, and that's okay, I tried to run this script, it failed. Not only did it fail, let's say maybe it deleted your entire infrastructure, right? I think I read a stack trace about a guy who did that, like deleted all the backups for his entire company and like accidentally ran a script that deleted all his servers as well, or that reconfigured them to not be what they needed to be. That is huge. That's a huge failure, but it's also a huge opportunity for growth. That guy now knows maybe don't run scripts in production that I didn't test in some other environment, or maybe don't run a script that I didn't have someone else look at who could have said, whoa, that wild card in there means you're about to do this to everything. It's not a limit of that person's abilities that they did that. It was just a mistake, right? And you can learn from a mistake. Okay, so you do belong here, and it is really important to remember you are not alone. And this, when I was writing this, I happened to stumble upon a conversation in the Twitter sphere that was talking exactly about this. Science Girl is a professor of science. It doesn't matter where, we just know that she's a professor of science. And she gives the advice that, hey, that I don't know what I'm doing feeling, it doesn't go away. So if you are like, sweet, now that she's given this speech, I can go back, I will never feel that feeling again. No, it doesn't necessarily go away. I am giving you the tools to say, hey, it's okay that it's there, now let's move on from that, let's work forward. The best part about this is, like, in this conversation, another woman is like, hey, I am also still battling this. How do I get over it? And the answer is still the same. Like, you're not alone. Just because you feel that doesn't mean it's true. Get the tools that you need to overcome that and have that power. So I want to leave you with this. I think I'm right at my time, too. Woohoo! I know no one in this room is perfect. So now that I know that, and I have just announced it to everyone, everyone knows that no one in this room is perfect. Now that you know that, you can go out and do what you want to do. You can go out and do the things that make you good. So yeah, thank you for your time. I don't think we have time for questions. Oh, we have 4 minutes for questions.
Hello. Excellent. Thanks so much, Jody. Big hand. For not being a speaker, you do pretty darn well.
Well, I did study theater, so.
We have time for a couple questions. Who's first? Hopefully somebody nearby. Oh, come on. I know there's questions out there. Excellent. What's your name, sir? Please begin and then ask your question.
I'm Keith Horn. You talked a lot about the growth mindset. Mm-hmm. Now, how does that come into play in the DevOps space? So DevOps is, fairly new to a lot of people. And in that space, you have to have some level of skills where sometimes you don't have time to necessarily grow and have that mindset to reach in that direction. You need to have the level set and the skills to be able to produce.
I think the growth mindset is actually already really prevalent in the DevOps world, just in like the idea of like continuous integration and deployment. You are shipping out smaller changes more frequently, right? And it's okay if there's a small bug in that small change. You can start to like edit that and move on from there. If you're talking about like learning tool sets or like giving yourself the skills and stuff like that you need in a growth mindset, I think the most important application of it is at that point where you realize you don't have it. And instead of saying like, hey, I don't have this skill, I need to go out and get it before I can move on. It's not necessarily that you need to go out and get it before you moved on, right? Like, you got hired into your position. They trust you to do what you need to do. And if you don't have a skill that you need in order to move forward, you have the power to say, hey, I don't have this skill that I need to move forward. So it's really scary though, right? Because you're admitting that you don't have something that they might need, but you ultimately, Yeah, I can't stand up here and say that no manager is going to fire you if you say I don't have that skill, but you do need to be able to communicate with whomever you need to communicate that something is missing and that you need to go out and fill that and ask for their help for it. So I hope that answers your question or gives you some way to move forward.
So big hand for Jody. Thanks so much, Jody.